Auburn will face a 3,000-yard passer when they face Sawyer Robertson game 1 in Waco. But can they slow him down? Welcome on into the Auburn Express, powered by the War Report. I'm your host, Mike G. Thank you so much for making us your first listen. Turn us up, turn us on, we'll turn it out. I'm here solo this morning talking a little Auburn football. We're talking defense, and we're talking game 1 versus Baylor. In the second half of the show, we'll talk about impact players on defense for Auburn. But let's start with the task that they will have at hand, which is slowing down Baylor's passing game, Baylor's explosive passing game. This is going to be no small task for Hugh Freeze in year 1, guys. He's going to have to figure out how to get his defense. Well, DJ Durkin is going to have to figure out how to get his defense to produce something close to what we saw in terms of scoring defense last year if they are going to come out victorious in this one. So it's been a long road to hoe for Hugh Freeze. Look, there's a lot of pressure. He wouldn't call it pressure. He would say it's expectations. And expectations are good if because you've done something to create those expectations in year 3. So what I'm thinking here is Hugh Freeze is going to have to lean on his defense. He's going to have to lean on his defense big time to get this done. That means leaning on DJ Durkin to produce a scoring defense that can keep Baylor in check. Now, I've already predicted this game 38-21. If you watch the War Report, you know I'm bullish on Auburn's offense. I think they score enough points. But more importantly, I think the defense holds serve long enough for Auburn to get it together offensively if that's what they need to do. It's going to be a fun thing to watch. Now, when we're talking about Baylor on offense, it starts with quarterback Sawyer Robertson. A 3,000-yard passer from last year. He did well. He did well for them, and I think he'll continue to do well in the Big 12. Baylor will be a contender for the Big 12 title. As you guys know, I cover the Big 12. Covering UCF. I followed Sawyer Robertson, and I think he's a good quarterback. I just don't think he has what it takes to throw on this Auburn defense. Now, Keldric Faulk is going to be in his face. Again, we'll talk about impact players in the second half of the show. But looking at what he was able to do last year, 329 yards through the air versus West Virginia. He had 324 yards on a very good BYU team. They lost that game 34-28. Now, he was only 56% passing, 3 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. This is a guy that will turn the ball over, right? He had 28 touchdowns, but he did throw 8 interceptions last year. You can pick him off. I think Kayin Lee and company take advantage of the errant throws that he tends to throw at times. Now, he's a 62% guy. I don't think he improves on that percentage much, especially in a pass-happy Big 12 where, I mean, look, he was good passing the ball, but he makes mistakes at times. And if you can take advantage of those mistakes, you can score a lot of points on you can hold their offense down. So that's what I expect. That's what I expect from DJ Durkin. They did a great job turning people over last year. Auburn didn't do a good job holding on to the ball at times, but because Jackson Arnold can take care of the football, I think the offense extends drives and the defense gets lots of rest this year so they can come in fresh in the fourth quarter and hold teams down. That's what Auburn's going to need here. DJ Durkin was made the second highest paid coordinator in the country this offseason for this reason. They're developing guys on defense. And I don't even think it's a question. So as I mentioned, Sawyer Robertson, 3,071 yards passing last year, 62% completion percentage, 28 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. He had a long of 53, 153 quarterback rating, which is not bad. But he's going to have to do better than all of that if they're going to be Auburn game 1, especially if they're going to be Auburn defensively. Now, what kind of weapons is he going to have to work with? Well, they've got some pretty good receivers there at Baylor as well, too. That's something that I expect Auburn is going to be able to cover them, though. If you look at the other side of the ball, I don't think that Baylor has the DBs to cover Auburn's receivers. I don't think they can cover Cam Coleman. I don't think they can cover Eric Singleton. And if you've seen the highlights, he looks uncoverable. So that's not going to be an option for you. I don't think they can cover Malcolm Simmons. They can't cover Perry Thompson. They can't cover anybody Auburn's got defensively. That is a fact. On the other side of the field, I think Auburn has the guys to cover Baylor receivers. I don't think it's going to be particularly close. This is why I've got Auburn winning this one by double digits. A lot of my peers in the media are calling this to be a touchdown game. If Auburn makes any strides offensively, I don't see this one being close in the fourth quarter. I think they pull away at the end of the third, and they win this by a couple touchdowns and maybe a field goal now that Alex McPherson is back. If you talk to Hugh Freeze, he'll tell you, man, he felt like they lost a couple games last year having Alex McPherson out. They've got him back this year. I think that's a great thing for the Tigers. I can't wait to see it. I know you guys can't either. But let's talk more about this Baylor offense. Again, I think that the conference has to be factored in here when you talk about Baylor on offense. We cannot have a discussion about how many yards Sawyer Robertson threw for and how good their offense is without talking about where they did it in the Big 12. Now, the Big 12 looks competitive, but that's because the teams at the top of the conference, quite frankly, aren't that good. Arizona State was picked to finish last in the league. They won the whole damn thing last year, but I don't think they're going to be the same team. A lot of people are picking them to repeat their quarterback returns, but that running back Cam Scatterboo does not. Now, they gave Texas a hell of a run for their money in the college football playoff. At the end, recruiting won. Quinn Ewers did what he needed to do. They didn't have enough offense to win that one. They came close, but close only wins in horseshoes and hand grenades, and that's where Baylor finished, Arizona State finished last year. Baylor is in that tier. That's where they're at. They're in that tier. So when you look at the Big 12 and you look at what Baylor did in the Big 12 last year, they were the third best offense in the conference last year. 6,000 total yards, but if you look at yards per game, 440 yards per game, which is pretty good. That's pretty good. Are they going to get 440 yards on Auburn's defense? I don't think so. Auburn gave up somewhere in the 329 range per game. The SEC was ridiculous defensively last year. So when you see these numbers, when you see what Baylor is doing offensively, you got to look at the other side and you got to look at defense and see, well, okay, what was Auburn doing in the SEC offensively last year? Well, let's take a look at that. As I mentioned, they on defense, they allowed a little bit over 300 per game, but Auburn's offense was putrid at times, but they moved the ball. So they averaged 429 yards of offense. Look, that's only 11 yards of difference between these two teams in total in yards per game last year. The only difference was Baylor was able to get it in the end zone and Auburn wasn't. If they solved that problem, I think Auburn is going to be in really good shape in this one. Now, let's look at what Auburn did defensively last year. They were middle of the pack in terms of yards allowed per game. As I mentioned, I said 329. It was 330. I was a yard off. 330 yards per game. If they hold Baylor to 330 yards, Auburn's going to win this football game. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. If they hold Baylor to 330 yards, they're going to win this football game. They did that on average last year, which was incredible. DJ Durkin's defense came up time after time for Hugh Freeze. They just weren't able to score enough points. They moved the ball at times. They had explosive plays. Red zone offense was putrid. And third down defense was bad on the other side of the ball. But as bad as they were, historically bad, only 330 yards per game given up. Now, in terms of points per game given up last year, where did Auburn rank? Again, middling in the conference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They were 8th in the conference, guys, in scoring offense. They gave up 21.3 points per game last year. I think those averages hold. I called this game 38-21 without even really thinking about the fact that they only gave up 21 points per game last year. But I think that holds. And what that's going to mean for Auburn is they're going to win this football game. If they hold Baylor to 21 points, they're going to win this football game. It will take a monumental collapse offensively for them not to have more than 21 points in this game. I'm going to die on that hill. I'm going to die on that hill until this game gets there. Now, what did Baylor give up last year defensively? They gave up 26.7 points per game. Guys, Auburn's going to win this football game. They're going to win this football game. Baylor is a good football team, but Auburn is stacked with talent, and I just don't think Baylor can keep up. At the end of the day, talent wins. This is something that Hugh Freeze has preached since he's been on the Plains. He said we got to close the talent gap. They spent 2 years talking about nothing but that, and they did that. Now you have the quarterback you want. You have the receiver room that everybody wants. You've got the running backs you want. You got an offensive line that an NFL scout told Hugh Freeze he's got 6 draftable grades along that offensive line. 6. I think Auburn has got the better line. They've got the better receivers. They've got the better running backs. We'll see who has the better quarterback and whether that is the difference. But with Alex McPherson back, I can't see Auburn losing this football game. I just can't. I'm getting bullish on the Tigers the closer we get to August 29th. I think you should as well, too. So they've got some work to do, certainly. And you know, we're talking defense today, but I'm telling you, the offense being able to sustain drives and keep the defense off the field is going to mean the world to the end result for Auburn. It's going to mean the world for them. And if you're Hugh Freeze, you should be thinking about nothing else day and night. How do I sustain drives and score and keep my defense off the field? Because last year, DJ Durkin's biggest headache was Hugh Freeze's offense. Giving the ball back. Not scoring touchdowns. I'm telling you, they had a hell of a time trying to keep other teams off the scoreboard. And Hugh Freeze has got to do better for this defense, man. He's got to do better. He's an offensive guy. Auburn cannot be bad at offense. My good friend Jake Crane came on this show during SEC Media Days, and he said, you can be bad at the things that you're bad at, but you can't be bad at the things that you're good at, that you're supposed to be good at. You can't be bad at quarterback development. You're supposed to be good at that. You can't be bad at offensive play calling. You're supposed to be good at that. Hugh Freeze is going to have to figure it out, man. He's going to have to figure it out. But who will be the key contributors on defense? We'll talk about that right after a quick word from our sponsors.
This episode of the Auburn Express is brought to you by our friends at the Vibe Vault. You can find them at 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phoenix City, Alabama. That's right across the street from the Chattahoochee Valley Community College, next to Renfro's Supermarket and Marco's Pizza. The Vibe Vault. If you're in the Columbus, Phoenix City area and you're looking to get fresh for the weekend, get fresh for the weekend with the Vibe Vault. Not just barbers, lifestyle consultants.
This episode of The War Report is brought to you by our friends at The Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, The Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. I got Richard, longtime sponsor of the show. We appreciate him for sponsoring this segment. Please go visit them. Let them know that The War Report sent you. And don't forget to use that code. That's how they know you came from us. Let's jump back in here. Who will be the key contributors on defense, guys? The answer is simple. It's Keldric Faulk. It's Keldric Faulk, and it's more Keldric Faulk. He's got to be in Sawyer Robertson's face all day long. He's got to be in the backfield, creating havoc, making it hard, flushing him out of the pocket, making him make throws on the run. If Keldric Faulk gets 3 sacks in this game, Auburn's going to win. If Keldric Faulk is in the backfield causing havoc for Sawyer Robertson, Auburn's going to win this football game. The defense is going to get picks. Even if he doesn't get a sack, man, if he's hurrying the quarterback, man, and forcing him into bad throws, I think you see the secondary come away with a few in this one, or a couple. maybe even a pick six. You've got Baylor pinned deep in their territory. Keldric Faulk gets after it. Sawyer Robertson is trying to get the ball out to avoid a sack or a safety. And bam, pick six, Kayin Lee to the house. Bam, Crawford, pick six, straight to the house. I think it's possible. Keldric was voted preseason All-SEC first team. I was there, guys. I voted for him. Now, I also voted Cam Coleman preseason first team All-SEC. Didn't get a chance to vote for my boy DeMar. He wasn't on the list. They've got a lot to prove. But Keldric got voted first team for a reason. He's a guy who's going to be an impact player in the SEC. But this is a out-of-conference P4 game. I think it starts game one. If you're Keldric, you have to announce your presence to college football in game one. Show them why we voted you preseason first team All-SEC. He's got to be an impact player for DJ Durkin. Auburn lacked pass rush at times. They've got to get after the quarterback. They've got to make life uncomfortable for Sawyer Robertson. If you can't do that, he's going to eat you up. Now, who is my second impact player? That's another other than DeMarcus Riddick. It looks like Robert Woodyard is making a good case to be the guy out there beside him. But in year two, DeMarcus Riddick has to be a star for Hugh Freeze and DJ Durkin. I think he comes through, man. This young man has otherworldly talent. I talked to Jay Crane again at SEC Media Days. He said when you look at DeMarcus Riddick, he looks like what Georgia has. He looks like what Alabama had or has. He looks like what the big boys in college football have. And if you're Hugh Freeze, you spent all this time crowing about talent, and then you went out and you got DeMarcus Riddick. So now that you have him, I can't believe that he's not going to break out this year. He's going to break out this year. Now, he had surgery this offseason, but looks like he's back and he's ready to rock. He's not a guy that you're worried about knowing the system. He spent his time in the playbook. He knows what's going on. The game has to slow down for DeMarcus Riddick in his head. He's got otherworldly athleticism, but he's got to play a little bit smarter this year. And I think that's what that first year of experience when you play as a true freshman, as much as he did, does for you. Hugh Freeze talked in my one-on-one with him in May. We sit down with Hugh Freeze every single year, just me and him. Talked about a game versus Missouri where DeMarcus Riddick had the quarterback dead to rights. Dead to rights. He just overran the play. Fast as hell. But it's got to play with a little bit more control. I think we see that here from him this year, and I think that he is going to be an impact player. My third impact player is going to be Kayin Lee. Georgia wanted this guy. Like, Georgia tried hard to poach Kayin Lee. He decided to return to the Plains. They talked about roster retention a lot this offseason, about keeping the guys that they had on the Plains. For all intents and purposes, they went out and they did that. Kayin Lee, he's got to be a star this year for DJ Durkin, man. He has got to show up. Auburn has to take advantage of all those opportunities they had at picks. They had some picks. They had picks in their hands last year. They just dropped. Sawyer Robertson will throw the ball right to you. If you're Kayin Lee, you've got to step up, man. One of the most senior guys in that secondary. He's got to step up, and he's got to make plays in this one. Auburn has a chance to make a statement this year defensively. Keldric Faulk, DeMarcus Riddick, Kayin Lee, these guys have to be stars for Auburn in 2025. I can't wait to see it. As I mentioned at the top of the show, 21 points per game. That's all these guys gave up, in spite of some of the terrible positions they were put in at times. Now, as I mentioned, Auburn moved the ball offensively. They had big plays here and there. As a matter of fact, I shouldn't even say here and there. They were one of the best in the country at creating big plays, but it didn't result in touchdowns. And as a result, the defense was left hanging out to dry. If they can move the ball and don't leave these guys hanging out to dry, just a little bit of help, I think Auburn can go sub 21 in terms of points per game allowed. That's how good they are. That's how talented they are. Can you imagine an Auburn team allowing like 18 points per game, 17 points per game. Now we're in an area where we're talking about these guys making a college football playoff. If they're only going to allow 18 points per game, there's not a game on that schedule they can't win this year. Now, when we did our boss toss and loss, I marked Georgia as an L. I did. But if they only give up 18 points in that one, I'd be willing to flip my pick. I'd be willing to bet Hugh Freeze and Jackson Arnold can score more than 18 points on Georgia this year in their own house. If you're DJ Durkin, you got to go out and you got to earn that raise, man. You got to earn why they made you the second highest paid assistant in the country this offseason. I think we see it happen. I think it's a great thing for Auburn, and I think that Auburn hits the over this year. The over 7.5, and it's the defense that's really got me bullish on the Tigers. I just think they're too good. They were good last year. They got overlooked. The association with losing made a lot of people forget how good this defense was last year. Top 30 defense. Guys, they were good. They were really good. They'll continue to be good, and Auburn is going to win in Hugh Freeze's third year. And they have to. They have to win in Hugh Freeze's third year. Make no mistake about it. No bones about it. If Hugh Freeze does not hit the over this year, nothing should be off the table. Nothing should be off the table. He's got to hit the over. He's got to win 8 games. This is a manageable schedule. Now, what is that schedule? Let me walk you through it. Obviously, we talked about it a lot. Game 1 at Baylor, August 29th. You've got Ball State and South Alabama at home. Then you go on the road. And you open with Oklahoma and Texas A&M on the road. Georgia comes to the Plains. Missouri is up next. Then you have an Arkansas team that you're going to play on the road. So Missouri at home, Arkansas on the road. Then you get Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Mercer. Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Mercer. Dub, 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 dub. You got to win all 5 of those games, guys. There will be no excuse for losing any of those games. 0. Auburn should be going into the Iron Bowl an 8-win team. They should be going into the Iron Bowl an 8-win team. That means if you win those 5, you just got to go 3-3 in your first 6-game stretch to go into the Iron Bowl an 8-win team. That means you need at least 1 good win in your first 6. As I mentioned, I expect them to beat Ball State and South Alabama. That means beat 1 of the first 4 to go 3-3 and then win your next 5 and be an 8-win team going into the Iron Bowl. Beat Baylor, beat Texas A&M, beat Oklahoma, or beat Georgia. They're going to win one of those. They've got to win one of those games. I don't want to think about what's going to happen if they can't win at least one of those, but they've got to win one of those games. Get out of that stretch 4-2, and now we're talking a potential playoff berth. If Hugh Freeze can avoid the inexplicable loss to a Vandy. Now, I had fans on social media telling me, oh, but he can't beat Diego Pavia. Actually, Diego Pavia played terrible in that game. 9 for 22. He didn't beat Auburn. Auburn beat Auburn offensively. They lost that game 17-7. That same Diego Pavia put 40 points on Bama. He beat them. He didn't beat Auburn. He did not beat Auburn. And I bet good money he didn't beat Auburn this year. I like the Tigers over 7.5 at 8 wins, and possibly 9 or 10, depending on how the ball bounces in the first 6. If you're a betting man, bet the 401k on the over. Guys, that's it for another great edition of the Auburn Express, powered by the War Report. If you want more content like this, please hit like and subscribe. We are the War Report on every social media platform, TW Report on TikTok. Also, do us a favor. If you're in the comments after this video, smash that super thanks button. Show us some love. Your financial support is part of what helps keep us going here at the War Report. We're on the road for you. SEC Media Days, we'll be on the road. Ike will be in Waco, and we do all this by your grace and support. So please smash that super thanks button. Leave us a comment. We'll get to you on the next segment. We're signing off, and as always, War Eagle.